Meister Eckhart, Sermon 90a, Sedebat Jesus docens in templo. Sedebat Jesus docens in templo. The Gospel says that Christ sat in the temple and taught. That he sat signifies rest. For while seated, one is more capable of bringing forth pure things than when walking or standing. Sitting signifies rest. Standing, working, walking, impermanence. That's why the soul must be seated, so to speak, in a humility bent below all creatures. Then she comes to a quiet peace. She gains peace inside a light. The light will be given to her in silence, there on the inside, where she sits and abides. Albert said it as well. This is the reason that the masters must sit to teach the arts. For the coarse spirits, that is to say the coarse blood, move to the head and dim the understanding. But whenever man sits, the coarse blood sinks, and the luminous spirits rush up to the head. Memory will then be illuminated. That's why Christ was seated in the temple, that is, in the soul. The other piece is that he was teaching. What did he teach? He taught how our understanding must work, for whoever should teach teaches according to what he is himself. Therefore, since Christ is an understanding, he teaches our understanding. Christ had 4 kinds of art and wisdom. The first is divine. From this he understands that which is by eternal providence, not only that which is and must be, but further than all that God can do if he wills it. With this art he saw into the hearts of men, and all works which belong to God, he worked them with his art. Christ was able to do this with this art that is God. Christ's other art, which is creature, is that art that was poured into his soul when he was created, and it is supernatural. That's why she savors God and beholds God in his being. In this art nothing can go to or from him. By this art he was able to recognize all that God has ever created or will create. Yet he did not enter into the infinite of which it knows not. This light is creature, and nevertheless, by his soul, it is supernatural. The third knowledge is what he possesses along with the angels, which have in them the image of all things. St. Dionysius said about this, when God created the angels, he gave them the image of all things, which they have naturally. Christ's soul also naturally has the image of all things, which he gave to them, yet he is not the same image, just as a stamp gives its form to wax, while it is not one with it. By this knowledge he did not take more or less from them. With it she can come to know all things that have happened, but not those that must happen, as an angel is not aware of things to come, unless they are revealed to him. He does not possess this by nature. The fourth knowledge that he had was through the senses. For whatever the senses take hold of from the outside, they carry spiritually into the imagination, where the intellect's insight grasps it. Thus he has a capacity to progressively acquire, as we do. Master Thomas said he had a capacity for progressively acquiring by the power of the senses. Now, we should pay careful attention to what he teaches us with these arts. The first art, which is God, from which all things flowed, with it he taught us how we must convert and order all things to their first source. The latter has a place in men, in whom all multiplicity is gathered together, and all corporeal things are carried up into God, and in their first source, which is God. And whenever man comes to this and attains oneness with God, then first and foremost he turns all things to their first cause. On this St. Bernard said, Lord, what is man that you should have so great a love for him? He is a good in which all multiplicitous things are gathered together in a oneness. He teaches us this with the art that God is. What does he teach us with the art that is supernatural? With that he teaches us that we should surpass everything that is natural. First we must surpass our own senses, and from there thoughts and illusions. Now walk forward, noble soul. Put on your walking shoes, which are knowledge and love. Walk thereby beyond the acts of your powers, and beyond your own intellect, and beyond the 3 hierarchies, and beyond the light that strengthens you, and leap into the heart of God, in his hiddenness. Therein you must become hidden from all creatures. He teaches us this with this supernatural art. That's why St. Paul said, You are dead, and your life is hidden with Christ in God. What did he teach us with the natural art that he shares with the angels, who have the images of all things within them? The soul also has the capacity for grasping all things. That's why she must remain in herself, for truth comes from within, not from without. That's why St. Augustine said, O Lord, how many have gone out of themselves to search for the truth, and not yet gone into themselves? So they have not found the truth, for God is the innermost interiority of the soul. He teaches us this with the natural art. What does he teach us with the progressive art? It is how we must order our outer man. The order reaches perfection with contemplation, man himself. For man, to know himself is better than knowledge of all created things. Christ taught them. Who are those whom he taught? They are the simple ones. Who is truly simple? They are those who neither injure nor deceive anyone with anything, those who cannot be deceived by anyone. They are the truly simple people. May God help us to this right simplicity. Amen.